Paris is the cultural capital of Europe and possibly the world. The question isn't what to do in Paris, but rather how to decide. With so many wonderful and varied options, it can be hard to plan your itinerary, whether you're an art lover, a history buff, or a serious shopper. Are you ready to see Paris? Let's go! The Louvre hardly needs an introduction. It is the most visited museum in the world, with more than 10 million visitors since 2018. The former royal palace is now the magnificent home of some of the world's most iconic artworks. Ever heard of the Mona Lisa? Don't freak out, but walking through the halls where Louis XIV once strolled, he lived here before moving to Versailles. Surrounded by the most famous art on Earth, can be an overwhelming experience. A must-do is also exploring Passages Couverts. Passages Couverts are beautiful covered passageways with glass ceilings in the 𝗟𝗲𝗃𝗬𝗃 department store. These were some of the first modern department stores, and honestly, things have gone downhill from there. The forerunners to modern-day malls, Paris's Passages Couverts, covered passages, allowed the 19th century flâneur to take shortcuts, shelter from the rain, shop, dine, or spend a secluded, debauched hour in the arms of a lover. For the next highlight, we travel underground. Did you know that underneath the City of Lights, there are tunnels full of bones? In the late 18th century, a major public health problem tied to the city's cemeteries led to a decision to transfer their contents to an underground site. The Catacombs of Paris might seem a little spooky or gross, but they are a fascinating part of Parisian history. One of the best things to do in Paris is to tour the creatively stacked tunnels. Containing the bones of over 6 million people, the Paris catacombs are officially the world's largest grave. Well, you can't travel to Paris without visiting the Eiffel Tower, right? Gustave Eiffel's controversial wrought iron lattice tower has been polarizing Parisians since it was built for the 1889 World's Fair. But today, the Eiffel Tower is one of the most beloved and instantly recognizable landmarks in the city and the world. The structure anchors one end of the expansive Champ de Mars and provides an orientation point for the city. Pretty much everyone will plan to see the Eiffel Tower at some point during their trip to Paris. And while it might seem obvious that the Eiffel Tower lights up at night, did you know that every evening the Eiffel Tower twinkles for 5 minutes every hour on the hour? It's a magical sight, and it's even better when you're standing close to the tower. Another incredible experience is also walking through Montmartre. Sometimes described as a village because of its winding streets and small-town feel, Montmartre is a neighborhood in Paris perched on a hilltop in the northern part of the city. Make sure you pay a visit to the 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗀 Basilica, an often overlooked religious monument. Rather than mapping out every detail of your visit, get off at a nearby metro station, 𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗧, and wander your way through the streets of Montmartre. This is the best way to get a feel for this charming neighborhood. Number 6 on the list is the Chateau De Versailles. The Palace of Versailles is undoubtedly one of Paris's most visited attractions for good reason. While revolutionaries might have ousted the last kings and queens of France, we're glad they left this magnificent piece of architecture unscathed. Retrace the footsteps of historical figures like Marie Antoinette and admire the grandeur of the former royal palace. In the Hall of Mirrors, beautiful chandeliers reflect in over 300 mirrors. When you visit the palace, make sure you visit the enchanting Gardens of Versailles. The meticulously manicured gardens occupy a total area of almost 2,000 acres. Destinations like Versailles are brimming with history, gossip, and stories. Last but not least is the Jardin des Tuileries. This sprawling, spectacular park is the beating heart of Paris's public spaces. Standing proudly between the Louvre and Place de la Concorde, and along much of the Seine's right bank in the first arrondissement, Tuileries Garden, Jardin des Tuileries, has a history as long and distinguished as it is impressive, from its inception as an aristocratic playground in the 16th century to becoming a public space in the 17th century to serving as the site of numerous French Revolution skirmishes in the 18th century. Now you are perfectly prepared for your first or next travel to Paris. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and to click the subscribe button for more travel content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.